And for those, because there'd be like me, I've read all your stuff today, and you sometimes you question, is this bloke fair income? For those who are questioning whether you're fair income and you're actually on the right path, what would you say to them? Because I'm buying what you're selling at this point, but what would you say to those who may be more skeptical than me?
Look, I think you've just got to really follow me, and see what happens next. So I think, time is really the best predictor. I wish I could sell people. I don't like to sell, people on who I am. I love who I am at the moment. I'm in a really great position, great relationship. I have a great support network. I'm running for council.
Yeah.
I'd really just say, jump on board, come for the ride. Yes, there's been some controversies along the way. There's been some hurdles. There will probably still be some hurdles and barriers and things like that. But, for the people that follow me now, they've jumped on along the way and, they're there for the ride and they're inspired by what they're seeing. I think of people that have just started following me in the last year or two since I started coming out about my story. I've done a lot of interviews and podcasts and things, and people just think it's incredible. They think, hey, geez, I started following this guy a couple of years ago. He's talking about addictions. Now he's running for council. So, yeah, my advice really is to just, jump on board. Don't take my word for it. See it for yourself.
And where can they do that if they want to see it for themselves? And what barriers do you see? Because you mentioned you got barriers that might be coming up. What kind of challenges and barriers do you anticipate you'll encounter over the next, 12, 18 months?
Look, my name is Shane Cuthbert. I am available on, I think, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. The barriers that I see facing in the next 12 months is obviously I've got an election coming up. That's very soon, so we're only 6 weeks out from that. But I've just finished my law degree, so I will have to apply this year to the Queensland Supreme Court for admission as a lawyer. Now, I'm pretty confident about my submission. As I said, I've got a former magistrate behind me, and not just any magistrate, a magistrate who actually sentenced me in the past. So if I've convinced a magistrate that I'm an okay bloke, then I think I'm doing okay.
Yes.
But I've got to convince the Supreme Court. I've got a friend, Deb Kilroy, down in Brisbane, who started Sisters Inside, that does incredible stuff. She really set the precedent for being admitted as a lawyer, having spent 6 years in prison for drug trafficking. And in comparison, I spent 6 months in prison sentence. So, I've got some hurdles there and I've got some barriers, but really I've just got to put all of that on the table and say, hey, this is who I am. I've messed up in the past, but a law degree is no easy feat. I've dedicated myself to it for the last 3 or 4 years, and I've done it now. I'm actually speaking to Parliament next Wednesday. That'll be my third time speaking to Parliament. So, I've got people here that are listening to what I have to say, and they think, hey, maybe this some of the experiences he's had, maybe he's got something to offer there. So that's all I'm really trying to do at the moment.
And last question, I promise. The series of life coaching videos you were doing prior, I guess my question is, who do you take inspiration from when it comes to those videos, and what kind of things are you telling young people in these videos?
Look, they're all self-help videos. I think I did that about 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
One of my friends, Stuart, actually, he helped me out with that a lot. So he was actually a registered, a hypnotherapist sort of thing. So He did very similar courses and very similar online stuff. And at the time, I was newly released from prison, didn't have a job, didn't have, any education or anything behind me. And so he really backed me to help me do that. He was one of the first supporters that said, hey, you've got some lived experience here. Maybe you can help people. And, that seed really grew. It's one of the reasons why I started studying psychology, was to help others so that maybe they didn't have to go through what I had to go through in my past.
And do you have any influences, any other people who do, a similar thing?
Look, I think who I've already mentioned. The MP that took me under his wing, he was the first quadriplegic politician in Australia. Magistrate Pat O'Shane, she was the first Indigenous magistrate in Australia, the first head of a government department in Australia. Deb Kilroy, the first female formerly incarcerated admitted as a lawyer in Queensland. So, these are people that are, they've accomplished great things, and they've also been the first to achieve something. So, when we talk about inspiration, as someone that's looking to be the first formerly incarcerated, or anything really, but counsel in particular, I do take inspiration from those supporters around me that, they have also been down that track where they have been the first to do something. It's easy to follow in someone else's footsteps, but to be the first, obviously, you're going to cop that criticism. You're going to have a lot of people that say, it can't be done, you can't do it. But all I hope to do is open the door for someone else, and I hope that there's maybe a young person out there listening now that might think, that's great, open that door so that, I can walk through it as well.
All right, Shane Cuthbert, good on you, mate. Thanks for joining us today.
Mate, thanks so much, Isaac.
Shane Cuthbert there. He is running for council in Cairns, and he, if successful, will be the first formerly incarcerated councillor on an Australian council. He's had a big former life, and it's been massive for him, in and out of jail and in trouble with the law from the year 2009. The wannabe councillor convicted of various different things. A lot of negative press out there about him, including that video in front of the Nazi flag, but also some pretty damning allegations from an ex-partner. Again, all alleged. 22 to 5. Feel free to respond to it today. Instagram, Facebook, Youth Jam Online, Tuesday the 30th of Jan. Thanks for joining us today.
Drive with Isaac, weekdays from 3 p.m.